do judgment, we don't do therapy, we stick to I statements, we respect each other.
Okay, well, we're live to everybody in YouTube land, and that was Anastasia going over our housekeeping, and I will pick up where she left off. We don't do judgment, therapy, but we do show each other much respect. We do that by trying to maintain a PG rating, and we also try to do that by using I statements. If you want to join the Hangout, you're going to have to ask me for an invitation, then I can add you to my circles, and then at that point I'll do a little bit of instant research to see whether or not you're a troll, and at that point I can invite you in. I may only do that once or twice during this Hangout or whatever.
Yep.
And I did sound checks before we came on the air, so no trouble so far. So having said that, I want to move into our first topic. We're going to do two topics this week. I want to move into the first topic in when does education stop?
I don't think it ever stops because everybody's always learning.
I would agree with that. I would also say that if you just welcome Panda, and I would also say that if you just stayed in one spot and didn't do anything, there would still be learning because technology changes around us.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, Panda, we were talking about when education stops, and I'm afraid for you, being a young person, it's never going to stop.
No.
Well, just think about it. Just in the last 16 years, 16 years ago, the internet was still considered to be a baby. And
now look, because we've got iPhones, iPads,
yeah,
Kindles,
and maybe in 15, 20 years, some of those are going to drop away, and we'll have even new technology.
Yeah.
I can't even begin to imagine, but somebody somewhere in a garage is working on the next big thing or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, like Bill Gates and I think it was Bill Gates with Microsoft.
Yeah, it was.
He created Windows in his garage.
Yeah. Well, the Apple computer was created in a garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you can go back to Packard Bell. Their first business machines were created in a garage. So yeah. So somebody somewhere, it may not be in America. It may be anywhere in the world for all we know. Someone's taking something apart and putting it back together in a different way,
yeah.
and it'll be better.
Yeah.
So and the other reason I don't think education stops is because it keeps us grounded. Having something.
Yeah.
Welcome, Joy.
Hey.
We were just talking about when education stops, and I think we've all agreed that it's not going to stop for any of us.
Education?
Education, unless we move to a mountaintop someplace that doesn't have a cell phone tower.
Knowledge is power. Education is knowledge. It's all good.
Okay, so
yeah.
So does anyone else? Oh, Panda says in his school we have a lower education than most schools. Well, luckily you've got
education. Education is is knowledge. You can't think of it as a school thing. School's not going to teach you anything except for the same repetitive stuff that everybody else has learned. You just read things over and over and over and over and again, and time over and over again. Real knowledge is actually looking at things from your own perspective and seeing things and deciding what's right and wrong and making your own choices and decisions. That's knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I found that even in the university where I went to, the big thing that I learned there was how to do research. Once you get out of school, that's what you wind up doing for the rest of your life.
I mean, for me,
I've seen something on Facebook that says most college graduates only read like 3 books after college.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Or
And that's
one
not saying what kind of book they're reading either.
or
Yeah.
one book a year. I've heard 1 book a year or whatever, because you know,
Yeah.
they have the degree, they have
Wow.
arrived. You know, but I'm inspired by the example of Thomas Edison, who on his
Yeah.
deathbed wanted to know about nuclear energy, and who this young man Einstein was. You know.
Mhm.
So I think education
I mean-
gives us something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Anastasia, go ahead.
For me, the education part at the moment is learning what I can and cannot eat
Mm-hmm.
because of the allergy that I'm suffering from. So it's learning how to manage food and IBS and allergies and all kinds of stuff.
Well,
And
you
it's
also learn. Go ahead.
And because it's turning into an eating disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Well, you
learning
also
how to
learn
manage
stuff.
that.
You also learn stuff from the people around you.
Yeah, you do.
And, like, for instance, I have a friend that has a similar reaction around her mouth that
Yeah.
Anastasia has. And they're trying to figure out what it is. And I was able to tell her that I have a friend that has an allergic reaction to rapeseed oil that has the same kind of reaction.
Yeah.
So that she can go to her doctor and request to be tested for it, because my understanding is it took a while for Anastasia to find out.
Yeah. Because I'm being tested for rapeseed oil, just to be sure.
Yeah.
I'm being tested for paprika, I'm being tested for mustard, I'm being tested for palm oil, I'm being tested for wheat.
Mhm.
And other stuff, because I've developed IBS, I've developed other stuff along with it now,
Yeah.
which is not good.
Mhm.
Because it's affecting my stomach now, and it's affecting me physically, because it's turning into an eating disorder.
So there again, the longer we learn, the more education we have to have about our own health care. You know,
Yeah.
because of the deterioration of our bodies, and hopefully the advances of science.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. So any other?
I just wanted to stop in and say hello to you guys. I seen it come up on my phone. That's why I'm on the phone, actually.
Okay. Well.
Actually working together, one of my the first bands that I ever made it big with and had a fallout with is talking about getting together now and doing a reunion after the last 10 years. So, hoping that
Cool.
goes through, and if that happens, then that'd be amazing. Be able to get back with the guys I originally started playing with and actually start a career with, actually. So
are you gonna do some new material?
I'll probably redo the old songs, throw some new stuff in. I don't know right now. It's just up talking to see if everybody's going to do it. You know, we're all a bunch of old men now. We ain't the same young kids we were when we first started.
Hey, if the Stones can keep crawling out on stage.
I'm not worried about age at all.
Yeah.
I don't do anything about my body. I got this body in full shape. I've been taking care of this body so well that I can do anything I want now. But,
Joey, anything is possible.
anything is
possible. Anything is possible.
possible. Anything you can imagine is possible. Possibilities are endless. So I love you guys. It was nice talking to see you again. I'll still be in touch with everybody, but right now I'm just trying to see what's going on this end.
All right. Well, thanks for checking in, Joey. Glad you're doing well.
I love you all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi.
Okay. Well, that was a good report to hear from Joey. He's not doing his Hangout so much anymore, but he's got many irons in the fire. So, well, good for him. Good for him. And that just proves our point that education, even if you're a musician, you got to learn new material.
Yeah.
Or learn other people's songs. I mean, so learning is lifelong. So, any other comments on that before we go into our heavy or a heavy dark topic?
No.
Not really.
Okay, well, I guess you guys have been aware in the news, maybe not so much in the UK, but certainly
No.
in our country, we are having these situations with people dying in police custody. And the last two that I'm aware
Oh
of,
God.
the one right next door to me, in Hempstead, Texas, Waller County, Texas, or whatever, with a young lady who was suicidal, and they knew she was suicidal, but they didn't do anything about it. I've got a fly or something in here.
Oh, holy
Plus I'm
smoke!
upset.
That's awful.
And so she committed suicide, and they pretty well. Plus, she told the officer, I watched. There's a horrific dash cam video. The guy did not have his body cam, or I guess DPS in Texas does not have body cams yet, or whatever. But luckily, he was on dash cam, and they have like 95% of what went on visually, and then 100% of what went on as far as the auditory or whatever. And it is just horrific. This guy, I mean, he's worse than a Keystone Cop or whatever. And
Yeah.
just the way he basically harassed her. I mean, she was upset, and most people are upset when you get pulled over for a minor traffic. She changed lanes without signaling, and the other morning I was going someplace, and I just started counting people that were changing lanes without signaling, and I stopped at 20, and one of those was a police officer. So I'm like,
oh God.
You know, and it's like, I mean, he just wanted to show his authority, I guess. I don't know, and
Yeah.
plus I think he saw an out-of-state tag. Which in Texas, if you're driving around with an out-of-state tag, God help you, because you'll get pulled over until you get a Texas tag. And,
This is not good.
No, it's not good, but it's typical in the southern United States. And then the other case I wanted to talk about, I'm not sure if it happened in Memphis or North Mississippi, but a young man was arrested. He had been at a rock concert or something, so he was a little bit high. He was a little bit out of it, and they told the officers this, whatever. Anyway, they hogtied him face down, and he said, "I have asthma. I can't breathe." Just like the lady said, "I have epilepsy. You know, stop hurting my arms or whatever." And and he was hogtied face down, which is how they put him on a gurney to take him to the hospital, and he suffocated and died.
That is just awful.
And I'm not a lawyer. You know, we don't do therapy here. We also don't practice law here. But in my mind, we need to come up with a plan for how we're going to handle our interactions with law enforcement. You know, whether we have to call them for 911 or whatever. And law enforcement has a very, very tough job. I woke up this morning to the news of the shooting. Another theater got shot up. This one was in Lafayette, Louisiana. God. And you know, so I'm trying to see both sides of it.
This is outrageous. Something needs to be done.
I mean, there was also the case of the woman that was working with an organization against police brutality, that she got pulled over for something, was tackled to the ground, and ended up dying 2 days later in her cell.
Yeah, I think. Well, I'm not sure if we're talking about the same case, but this is the black lady, Sandra Bland. This was in Waller County.
Yeah, that's her.
Okay. That's the same case, and we don't actually see that part of it. That part of it happened off camera or whatever, and supposedly he was kicked and he had some scratch marks, but he was rough handling her. I mean, he threatened to yank her out of her car. He threatened to light her up. Mm-hmm. You know, you will obey me. I am the master, and you are, you know, fill in the blank.
I mean, cops are going on a power trip these days.
Yeah, yeah. But
This is not.
and I think it's not good. But I think it's due to a lack of training. I
Yeah.
mean, the sheriff's office in Water County was supposed to have 2 hours of training on people, and they didn't even get to 2 hours
Exactly.
of training. And this poor lady, she lost a baby last year. She had moved from Chicago to Texas. She was starting a new job. She has epilepsy. They found traces of marijuana in her system. So all this tells me that she was a disaster waiting to happen. All the stresses that just kept piling up, and the Monday
Yeah.
she committed suicide was supposed to be her first day at work, and the last image we see in the dash cam is her, and I was thinking if that was me, I'd be thinking about how am I going to get my car out of hock,
This is
Hey,
not good.
Marvin.
you know?
Hey, Marvin.
Yeah, go ahead.
Someone in the Google Hangout chat is wanting to join.
Who's that?
Elizabeth Huffman.
Okay, I sent her an invite. Let me send her another one.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for catching that for me.
It pops up on my phone.
Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
On mine as well.
Okay, Liz, your invitation is on the way, so give it about 30 seconds or so, and you should be ready to come in. But it's just really a tragic case, and I think what's going to happen is they're going to find. And the other thing that I think they've ruled out is they've ruled out an epileptic seizure, because sometimes if you
There we
have a
go.
lot of stress.
There we go.
Hey,
Hey,
welcome.
Liz.
Hello.
Hey, Liz.
Hey, what's up?
Not a whole bunch. We're just talking about this case in Waller County with a young lady.
Oh shit! Yeah, sorry. the lady, the PTSD thing, yeah, and they're crying about her self-harm. On the news, it's really disgusting the way they treat people who have PTSD. I mean, they act like, well, or at least here, because at least here in my area, they're acting like, oh, marijuana could have caused her to be suicidal, and really horrible things. I don't know. I believe that they were responsible for her care, whether she committed suicide or
Right.
not.
Right. Well, I think what they're going to find in her case, well, at the very least, she should have been put on suicide watch. And,
Yeah.
And they probably should have had her. They had EMTs come look at her because she got boogered up a little bit during the arrest, and and she had wounds on her shoulder, and in the video she said, "Why is your knee in my shoulder?" or whatever. So they've got that, and plus she had from the handcuffs, she had cut marks from the handcuffs or whatever. But so the EMTs checked her out and said, "You're okay." But what probably should have happened was they probably should have gotten her to a hospital and had her evaluated for mental health issues.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
obviously, I mean, on the intake form, there's evidently they have two intake forms, which I didn't know about. One is computerized, which I'm guessing the clerk was putting that in, and the other one is a handwritten form or whatever that you have to fill out. And my guess is
Yeah.
she filled that out herself. So the computer form said, "I'm not suicidal." The one she wrote out said, "I am suicidal."
Yeah.
So just the discrepancy between the two, if you have someone saying two different things within a matter of minutes, that's also a red flag to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but our system just seems to be so broken down in so many different ways.
Oh yeah, and plus, I don't know if anybody has seen the entire video, but I don't know, that cop really went out of his way to.
I didn't see any of it, obviously.
Yeah, but he Oh, especially the part where he holds the taser on the girl and I will light you up. You know, I'm gonna drag you out of there. Hey man,
Yeah.
you're that would trigger any PTSD. You know what?
Yeah.
That might trigger like flashbacks. I mean, yes, she becomes fairly combative. Okay, but hell yeah, I'd become combative too, man. A cop is
Yeah.
standing.
I mean, if I were in that situation and it triggered flashbacks for me, there are two possibilities of what would happen. I would either shut down completely and be nonverbal,
Yeah.
or I would become combative.
Yeah. Me and all.
Because depending on the alters, if Zach comes out, I am going to be combative because he comes out for a threat.
Okay.
Yeah. If Silas comes out, that's what happens with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first thing we have to do, and it may not work, but the first thing we have to do is we have to say, well, you take Joy. Joy was just here a few moments ago. He's doing great, by the way. But remember when he went to Wisconsin?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. He had to change trains in Pittsburgh, and he had to go through security. And the security guard said, "Hey, you look kind of shifty."
Oh shit.
And Joey said, "That's right, because I'm on." And he listed the medication he was on, and he told the guy the disorders he had. And the guy said, "Well, we're going to pull you out of line just to make sure everything's okay or whatever." And they did, and everything was okay, and they wound up shaking hands, you know. But so the first thing we've got to do is we've got to tell them, I'm on medication, or I have PTSD, or I have DID, or whatever, and hope that they believe us.
Yeah.
And then, and
And
I
try
think,
as much as you can to follow instructions. But I think that cop was just using his authority.
See, for me, it would be I have DID, PTSD, borderline personality disorder, gender identity disorder. Ugh.
yeah, and the other thing is we're going to be, okay.
It was Panda that left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing is that we're going to have to call 911. You know, or a family member, or we come up on a car accident or something or whatever. And I think the same rules would apply. You know, I have PTSD. This may trigger a flashback in me or whatever. You know, I may need an EMT. And just hope that I believe. Now the other thing is what Chance brought up, and they teach this whenever there's civil disobedience. This is what they teach. And there again, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not giving advice. I'm just saying that this is probably what I would do. Is I would play possum. I would pretend to faint or whatever, and then in that case, it wouldn't just be me and the cop there. It would be me and the cop and the EMTs, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what. But there again, that's not. There's no guarantee of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I recently found out about an app for the phone that it's technically for Asperger's, but it would work for a panic attack as well. It describes that you're kind of having a meltdown, you can't talk, you can't really understand words, but you can still type.
Okay.
And it tells them not to touch you, and stuff like that, and then the next screen after they hit continue is a chat screen where you can hand the phone back and forth and type to each other so they can know how to help you.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea, but in Sandra Bland's case, I think at one point he confiscates her cell phone.
Yeah.
He took her cell phone. I think okay, there was no need for it to escalate the way it did. He because this was all over a failed turn signal.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
A stupid thing. Okay, we went from a minor traffic stop to this? Oh, hell
Welcome
no.
back, Panda.
Uh, before we go too much, further, is everybody okay? I'm not treating anybody, am I?
Not me.
Okay, cool. Welcome
Okay,
back. Uh,
okay. I just want to make sure because this even just
Kansas.
talking about these stressful situations could be triggering or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
but the thing about it is we're going to have some kind of a plan, and like I say, there's not going to be any guarantees, but there's going to have, and also on we need to advocate for more police training.
Yeah.
They really need more training,
Oh, they
Yeah.
really do. I agree with you.
especially with mental health.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, they do.
Most cops are clueless about mental health.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
I know in Travis County, we have what are called mental health deputies that are part of the Travis County Sheriff's Office.
Mm-hmm.
That all they deal with are the suicidal calls, the self-harm calls, the people that are having a mental breakdown, basically. That's
yeah.
all they deal with.
Like
Yeah.
like a jumper.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And they're the ones that usually transport from a hospital, from a medical hospital to a psych hospital. If you need transportation, it'll most likely be a mental health deputy.
Mhm.
But I don't know if every county has those. I just know that Travis County has those.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the first I've ever heard of it. I mean, I knew that cops, would transfer, but I didn't know that they had like a specialization that that's all they deal
Yeah.
with like that. Here, hell no. It's a cop is a cop is a cop. And yes, I agree with you. A lot of them do need more, a lot more training. And I think in some ways our society in general, I don't know,
Yeah.
my family, for example, is not particularly accepting of um mental health issues, you know?
Yeah.
My family are very accepting.
Yes, and you're very, very lucky that they are.
Yeah, my mom is under the impression that I am bipolar.
What
Like,
the hell? Did and bipolar are two different.
yeah, like, I do have bipolar, but it's part of schizoaffective.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So technically I'm schizophrenic also.
Yeah.
And then I have the DID that she just refuses to even acknowledge.
Yeah.
So,
well, one way or the other, I think we're going to be involved with law enforcement, first
Yeah.
responders,
mhm.
just by the fact that we. And the other thing is, you drive a half hour away from Houston. You're in Podunk County, Texas. You know,
Mhm.
Yes, you are. That's exactly right.
and so the metropolitan areas may be geared for this, but Hempstead, Waller, and that was the
Yeah.
other thing. This guy was a state trooper, and he looked like Barney Fife on crack. You know,
Holy spoff, what time is it?
What do you
it
mean?
is coming up on 8:30, I believe.
Oh, thank God for that.
What do
Okay.
you mean he looked like a guy from a show?
Yeah, yeah, Barney Fife, the Andrew Griffith show. I was trying to think of the name of the cop
Oh,
on the Dukes of Hazzard, but
oh my
I couldn't
God.
remember that. I couldn't remember. But just your stereotypical, country cop that doesn't really have going for him except he's got a badge on now.
Exactly. This is the thing I hate about. Well, this is one of the things I really don't like about small town America. There are things I do like about small town America, like everybody's usually real friendly and stuff.
Hmm.
But a lot of the people, I don't know. It seems like once you get out of the metropolitan areas, you have, it's like you say, they don't have anything going. A lot of places, there are entire towns where there aren't any real jobs. I mean, there's not a lot of people don't have a job. um they basically have no lives except gossip and you know.
Mm-hmm.
And living where I live. I live in the Forest County in Texas, so there is a large population of, for example, people who are on
Ow!
Social
Cramp
Security.
in my arm.
Oh
Oh,
gosh.
that hurts.
It
Um,
does.
hmm But there is
Are
a
you?
large population of people who have Social Security here, and it's, oh yeah, like you say, they have nothing going for them except that badge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I lived in a small town in Georgia, and this was many, many years ago. It's bigger now, but we had 2 police officers, and if you were to go on vacation, you could tell them, could you drive by my house a little more often or whatever, and they say sure. Well, they knew everybody in town, and they drove by this one guy's house, and it was like midnight, and his front porch light was still on.
Oh shit.
And they knew this guy was so tight-wadded that he wouldn't leave his porch light on for anything or whatever. So they stopped and investigated, and sure enough, he had had a heart attack, and they saved his life.
No. Wow.
Simply because they knew this guy, they knew enough about uh, this guy to know his habits, and that's where I think we're losing on a lot of police forces is that the police officers do not live in the neighborhood or the community if it's a rural community or whatever, and so you lose that personal touch, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't seem to care about the people. Some do, I'm sure. But I mean, like you say, they don't live in the community. They're not known. They're not, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like here where I live, the cop does live in the community. Actually, less than a mile from my house. But but yes, that's. I agree with you. A lot of the personal touch, a lot of the personal caring. Better yet, we really don't have a sense of community anymore unless you live in a place like this.
Yeah.
But even then, you just don't have such a great sense of community. Speaking of PTSD, well, they also probably need education about the complex variety. But
Right.
Yeah, they do.
Right. But many of them are not paid very well, and then they have to moonlight. So when are they going to have time to get the training? Uh,
Yeah.
and in Waller County, they were only mandated to have 2 hours of training for every mental health issue out there. They're going to cram that
Jesus Christ.
into 2 hours, and then these guys have to make decisions, life and death decisions, obviously, with less than 2 hours of training. I just don't see how they can do it. But like I say, I would just recommend, I can't tell everybody what your plan's going to be, but I would just recommend that everybody, and also everyone in YouTube land, have a plan for how you're going to interact with first responders, either firefighters or police officers or EMTs, because chances are it's going to happen, so I'm pretty good when I get pulled over. I've only been pulled over. Well, the last time I got pulled over was probably about 5 or 6 years ago or whatever. And I'm very, very good about yes, sir, no, sir, I'm sorry, sir. Here's my license, sir. I'm very, very good about that or whatever. I go into a submissive mode when I get pulled over. But it happens so rarely. I was told. We had a cop where I worked, and I asked him one time, what should I do when I get pulled over? And he said, pull over as far off the road as you can and put your hands on the dashboard. I said, well, shouldn't I pull out my insurance? He said, no, because if you open the glove compartment...
I think you're reaching for a gun.
Yeah. So you want to put your hands on the thing, you want to roll down the window. You may not want to turn your car off, depending on how hot it is, but you roll down the window, put your hands on the dashboard or whatever, and then you do what the police officer says. And the police officer may say some things which are what they're called unlawful commands.
Yeah.
And this police officer in Waller County did give an unlawful command. There was a guy with his cell phone filming, and she said, thank you for recording. Thank you so much for recording or whatever. And at that point, the police officer said, get away. Technically, that's an unlawful order because, number one, it was a public venue. Number two, the guy with the camera was not impeding the police officer's duties. He wasn't egging him on or anything like that. He was just simply filming. Number three, he wasn't. The camera was not concealed, so it was out in the open or whatever.
Yep.
So that was an unlawful command, and this guy, hopefully, he'll never be a police officer in Texas ever again.
No,
Doesn't
I
mean,
hope he's not.
But it means he'll probably move to Oklahoma or Arkansas and get a law enforcement job there because that's what happens. The sheriff of Waller County had been reprimanded for
Racial profiling.
Yeah, racial profiling. He had been reprimanded or whatever, and I think that happened twice. He was the police chief of Hempstead, and they fired him. The council did, and then he runs for sheriff. So now you've got someone who's probably a bigot running the whole county.
Yeah.
It's just
How disgusting.
But anyway, so there's unlawful commands and there's reasonable commands. And a reasonable command to me, I've never been asked to get out of a car on a well, one time I was, and that's because I had a couple of beers at a bar, and the guy could tell that so I had to take some sobriety test, which I passed. And lesson learned. This was my college days, like maybe 20 years ago. Lesson learned. I don't drink and drive anymore. So, and
Yay.
that was only 2 beers. That was always my limit, was 2 beers or whatever. But there again, being asked to get out of your car, it may be an unlawful command, but is it an unreasonable command or whatever?
It's not illegal for them to ask that.
No. But
They can do that.
But she was trying to assert her rights or whatever, and I think if she'd had a lawyer there, she would have been correct. But if it's just you and the cop or whatever,
the cop is always right regardless.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, and that's what they had some guy on CNN, and he was saying, you do whatever the cop says do, and then you live to fight another day.
That's it.
And
the local news series.
And that another day is when you file a complaint against him or whatever, because they all have dash cam videos or whatever. And the thing about it is if she hadn't committed suicide, we would have never seen this. We would have never seen this. It would have been
never have known.
Yeah, it would have been his word against her word or whatever, and the cops would have trumped her word. So, but I'm just hoping we can get everybody a body cam,
And then there was another one. Did you hear about the one in Houston?
No, this.
Yeah, like yesterday or the day before, there was another person that was found hanging in their cell.
Why I'm in the call? Who is? Tell her I'm in the call.
Anastasia.
Can you guys mute?
You have to bring it up. I'm in the call.
Let's just give her a moment. If she needs to, take a break or whatever, she can, and she may have.
Yeah.
Yeah, she may have taken a break right now, so that's fine. Like I always say this is open campus. You come and go as you need to. I realize you guys have lives or whatever, and families and pets and I don't know what else. So if you need to take a break, that's fine.
What does she need to tell me?
Oh yeah. But yeah. Oh, by the way, welcome to Bluebirds.
What's up?
Bluebirds.
I'm in a video call. What's the matter?
No need to say it like that, Kayla. That's a bit rude.
You've got a place.
I love
well done.
UK accent.
Blue a lot of times just likes to listen
Oh,
in
it's a
or
Google
whatever.
Hangout. It's a thing for
Oh.
mental health reasons.
Yeah.
It would, but you've not got a Gmail address.
That dog's so close.
Okay.
You'd have to be invited. Yeah.
Okay. Blue says Texas used their jails and prisons as warehouse for the mentally ill. Poor treatment of the mentally ill in Texas is commonplace.
Well, you have to find that out.
Sadly, I agree with you, Blue, and I think it's that way all over our country.
Mm-hmm.
Not just in Texas is probably one of the worst places, but it's probably happening all over the country. So.
I didn't mean to be abrupt with you. I'm just in the call.
Yeah, it's Texas. Texas is one of the worst places for a lot of things.
Yeah.
I have them every Friday.
Yeah. For mental illness, for for good old boy networks.
It helps me. It's for the DI. It's for DID. It's a support group. It's for my condition. Yeah.
Anastasia, do you need to take a break?
Yeah. No, it's fine, Marvin. I'm just on the phone. I'll be back in. I'll be.
Can you mute yourself?
I don't know how to do it.
Well, I can mute you, but then I wouldn't know when to unmute you.
Yeah.
I'll have a go.
I love the UK accent.
And then he also says Texas is at the bottom for mental health care. I agree with that.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And a lot of them in Texas. My aunt is bipolar, and I think
my
my
phone's being stupid.
Too. And
yeah, just hang on, Katie. Just hang on. My phone's being stupid. My iPhone's being stupid. I'm gonna have to mute myself on the call.
Mhm.
Okay.
And yeah, they're basically it's basically a we'll give you a pill and it solves all of your problems mentality. When really, I think there needs to be accountability for behavior in mental health as well.
Is that muted?
No.
No, it's not.
I've muted the video.
Yeah, I can tell that. I'm really at a loss. But if you need to step away from the phone or whatever, whatever you need to do. But yeah, as we were saying, healthcare is basically hit or miss, you know, and that's basically my chief disappointment with our president was he had a chance to cover everybody, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen.
Yeah, I got a little lost with Obama.
I'm just trying to mute myself, Katie.
Didn't he pass Obamacare or something?
Well,
he did pass it, but it's not as good as people had hoped it would be.
Yeah, they didn't. It didn't include everything that it was originally supposed to.
Yeah, the
also,
public option.
I looked at it to see if it would be cheaper than Medicare.
Yeah.
For the same amount of coverage, I would have been paying double.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
And Medicare, this is another thing. Medicare and Medicaid, you know, they're not...
No.
Do you know how hard it is to find a doctor who will accept Medicare/Medicaid? And then, if you've ever been to one of those free clinics, it's absolutely horrible. Like, it's almost worse than the emergency room. Although the emergency room is not really a pleasant experience. But if you've ever been to one, you know what I'm talking about. It's you wait there all day, and you might have one doctor for everybody, and it's you really don't get the same quality of care. Whereas if you had
It won't let me mute myself. I'll step away from the phone.
Okay.
All right, Anastasia.
Whatever you need to do, we'll be patient with you.
So you got a place then? 4 to 6 weeks. That's brilliant. I'm pleased for you.
No, not far enough. LOL.
I just wish I would get a place now.
Yeah.
Social services are not helping me.
But yes, it's very hard to get
What?
medical care.
Yeah.
Right, we'll get Mum to do it then.
I was going to tell a story. When I was 11 years old,
That's what I'll do.
I was mowing the yard, and I hit a rock, and the rock hit my shin and cut my shin pretty bad or whatever. So Mom took me to the ER, and everything was going fine until there had been a bad car accident, and that ambulance came in.
Well
with
done for getting
people
the
that were
place
worse
anyway.
than me. And so at that point, I just had to lay there for 6 or 7 hours until those folks were taken care of, and then they came.
You shouldn't be, because you're moving into your own place.
So.
Yeah, I hate with the
ER
that you have to.
on your own.
Yeah.
That when they order tests, that it takes like 2 hours for them to come get you for the test, and then it takes 2 hours to get the results.
You will do.
And it's just like, seriously, can't you speed this up a little bit?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And then you just don't get the same quality of care.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Bluebird.
Thank you, Blue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
We have cameras on, so when she comes back to the phone, we should be able to see that she's back at the phone.
Okay, and then also she can send someone a message too. She's done that before, so. But yeah, I don't know what the answer is. For me, I've had to be my chief medical officer, and so far it's worked or whatever. But if I'm in an accident, I'll have to be taken to Ben Taub because my resources, I still have resources enough to where I can't qualify for Medicaid, and because I'm unemployed right now, I really can't afford. I think the bronze plan that I could have signed up for Obamacare would have been $200 a month.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was more than my first car payment. I'm like, am I buying a car here or what? So.
I mean, I've got a friend that signed up for Obamacare, and he got like the best plan they have.
Yeah.
The highest coverage, where he has like a $500 deductible, and then everything's covered 100%.
Yeah.
And he pays like $500 a month.
That sounds like the GOAT plan.
He pays like $500 a month, but he's a lawyer.
Yeah.
So he's basically self-employed, so he doesn't get insurance through his job, but he can afford insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's the kind of person that Obamacare is made for.
Yeah.
It's not made for the poor people that can't afford insurance.
Yeah. And I don't think Mrs. Clinton is going to expand Obamacare.
My
At least-
personal belief is we need something similar to what they have in the UK and Canada.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with you. In other words, it doesn't make us socialist. Every developed nation in the world, even many semi-developed nations, okay,
Yeah.
in Europe, like, okay, they're not like third world country poor, but they're not, say, as developed as, you know, as the UK or the US. But every country in, like, the entire EU has a healthcare system. Some of that varies by country, but I mean there are commonalities. You know, they have a healthcare system for everybody.
And it doesn't matter if you're a citizen or not.
Exactly.
No.
They don't say.
My mom has a friend that travels to Europe and Africa and Asia every year just for fun. And there was one day he was on a train in Europe. I think he was in Spain. And he had his head out the window and got hit in the mouth by something. And it knocked out several of his teeth. And he went to the hospital, and he spent like 3 days there at $25 a day.
Man, that's reasonable. I might be able to come up with $75, you know.
Yeah, and he wasn't a citizen, but that was the healthcare system there.
Yeah. Blue just wrote that he's calling it by its legal name, but basically Obamacare was never meant to be affordable. My cost has doubled in 1 year. That's what I'm hearing. See, and the thing about public option is the public option would not have really competed with health insurance companies. It would have covered the people that they don't want to cover. It would have made it better for health insurance companies because they could have kept all the healthy people. That's how we got Medicare, because once you got unemployed, you know, you were 65 or whatever, nobody wanted to insure you. So Johnson had the great idea to just insure the people that the health insurance companies did not want to insure. You know, in other words,
like people like me with disabilities that I can't work.
Yeah.
And get health care that way. But the hard part is you have to be on disability for 2 years before you're eligible for Medicare.
Oh, God.
Luckily, I got on disability so young that I was still on my father's insurance at the time.
Yeah.
So for a while after I was eligible for Medicare, I had 2 insurances. I had a primary and a secondary, and then when I got to the age that my dad couldn't cover me anymore, I was just on Medicare.
Yeah. Blue says also people with mental illness are being denied treatment by health insurance companies, and it's killing people. I've heard that. I've heard that.
So how do you guys pass the time?
Let's try to unmute Anastasia. I think she might be back.
Okay. I'm not sure if I can do it. I don't think I can do. Maybe I can do it by if I try to change her volume. Okay. I'm not able to do anything.
Maybe Blue has to do it since he muted her.
Well, I think generally you have to unmute yourself. So let's see. I think what we're going to have to do is I think she's going to have to leave the call and come back, and then I can send her another invitation.
Okay. She got her camera off.
Yeah, but she's trying to She's trying to figure out. Anastasia, if you can hear me, you may have to leave the call, and then I'll send you another invitation, and so you can come back in, and then I think at that point your audio will be restored. Because I can't, it won't let me do anything. That was the thing with the trolls, was that they could unmute themselves or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm not sure I can. I'm not sure if ejecting someone is the same thing as blocking them or whatever. So, she's going to have to take herself out of the phone call, and then I'll send her another invitation.
Yeah.
So, I wonder if I can do it now. Okay. So she should have another invitation. I may have to do some instant research too.
Because I'm wondering if her phone has an option to mute the mic.
And I don't know.
I've never gotten on my phone, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I pulled up the forum or whatever, so hopefully I should get some good information about this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's a question. I accidentally mute someone in my Hangout. Okay. Okay. It doesn't look good. Okay, she's going to have to drop out of the call, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, I'm back now.
Okay.
All right, Liz.
Oh, I was going to tell everybody back to the talking about the first responders and dealing with them. For everybody that owns an iPhone, set up your medical ID.
Okay.
I wonder if my phone has something like that.
I don't know.
I'm on an Android, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But I really, really advocate the use of if you're an iPhone user, of using the medical ID, because like you can list your weight, your height, your blood type, any conditions you have, medical like if you're on any medications, you can list it, and it even lets me add emergency contacts, all of it without the police or first responders needing to unlock my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when I lock my phone and my screen, the lock screen comes up, it gives you the date, the time.
Yeah.
All of that. There's a button that says emergency, and when you press it, it doesn't automatically call 911, but you press it again. You press the emergency button, and in emergency, it'll say something like show medical ID. And then your card can come up. So like if you want first responders to call people, if you want first responders to know I have this or that condition, I think it's wonderful. What if you're unconscious and nobody and can't answer questions?
Yeah. Okay, we've been at this for an hour, and I think I'm going to take us private. Okay, so Jake left the group, so let me send her another invitation. Or
right.
Anastasia, I should say.
But they go under the name Jake Spuffer, so it
Right,
shows up as a male name. So
yeah. So okay. Okay. So Anastasia, your invitation is posted. I'm going to take. She also has to take her medicine, so I'm going to take this opportunity. I'm going to take us off the live stream right now. So I want to thank the people that have watched. If you have any ideas about what we've talked about, please post.
Back.
Please. Okay, I'm glad you're back. Now, are you taking your medicine?
I'm going to do it now.
Okay, good deal. I'm just signing off from the YouTube side. I'm going to take this private.
Okay.
But anyway, to the people in YouTube land, if you have comments, please post them. I want to tell everybody that we will be back at the same time next week, 2 p.m. Central Time. I have not thought of a topic yet, but I've got a week to think about one. So thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Huh.
Yay.